Welcome back, viewers at home. Now, a reformed gangster turned human rights activist as well as founder of Bright Spark Foundation South Africa. I am joined by my guest tonight. Welcome, Witbooi, who is going to share his remarkable story, a tale of self-realization, introspection, and redemption that defies all expectations. Now, tonight he joined us to recount his journey from one of South Africa's most dangerous prisons to a life dedicated to the service of others and the promotion of human rights. But Mr. Witbooi, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to Annex Prime.
Thank you for having me, and yeah, good evening to all the listeners out there.
Now, looking at your journey, can you tell us a bit on, really give us an insight to say who Mr. Welcome or Mr. Welcome Witbooi was as a young, individual to now landing up in, being a gangster and finally just reforming and denouncing to say, you know what, this is not how I want to continue my life.
I think for me it was, like any other young boy growing up on the Cape Flats, and your father being absent, you that thing of a sense of wanting to belong, and where the streets kind of like become your home, and where the streets call you and say, let us be. Let's fill that role of an absent father. Let's be your brothers. Let's be your sisters. Let's be your family. And I think for me, that's how I got hoodwinked into believing that it was actually all about family, but not realizing at the end of the day, it was about them, fulfilling their criminal lifestyles and me being part of that, and then just network.
Yeah. And now you're a human rights advocate. I'm so, intrigued in finding out, like, what created that shift to say, you know what, I'm, because you could have easily stopped being a gangster and did other things. But instead, you're like, you know what, I'm going to be a father that I needed. I'm going to be a brother that I needed. I'm going to be a son that many women and mothers needed out there. What really sparked that for you?
I think for me, it was predominantly that thing of, like Paulsmoor is one of the most five deadliest prisons in the world, and being 17 years old in that space, and also having to grow very quickly, and it's all about survival. And then joining the numbers gang while you're in prison kind of like gave me that sense of, if I had to leave this place one day, what kind of father am I going to be, especially to a girl child? It was at that moment that when I was hearing men talk in prison about how they rape, how they steal, how they murder, and they spoke with no remorse, I felt like this is not the type of life that I want for myself. It's not the type of man I want to be. It's not the type of husband, partner, or father I want to be one day. And that's when I need to step out of this environment. And education became my saving grace.
Amazing. And how did the community now receive you? Because, I mean, we know when someone says they want a gangster, no parent will say, okay, let's send our child to that foundation. Because the first, I think, instinct would be, no, he might probably be recruiting our children. But how was your reception to community, or how was your experience in the community announcing to say, I'm now going to be a human rights advocate, I'm now going to be opening up a foundation of sorts?
I think for me it was predominantly because my change did not happen outside prison.
Ah.
I changed my life while in prison. So I obtained a bursary. I studied through UNISA. I did my teaching qualification, and I started teaching offenders while in prison. So from training them to be gangsters, I was now teaching them to be responsible citizens. So it was that situation of I had to build rapport. I had to build a reputation within the prison walls. And when I stepped out of prison, I applied for a job.
Yeah.
And it wasn't easy, it was difficult. But I knew that I wouldn't be able to apply for a job with the stars on my shoulders. I needed an actual document that could show people that I had made a difference. And that is where programs like restorative justice played an important part, where programs like, as I said, the teaching initiative that I attended, and also teaching other offenders, played a part in paving the way for me to transition back into the community, to reintegrate successfully. And that is where I got a job with a human rights organization, which was amazing. And from there, I learned what it was like to work with communities and how to really build communities. So from the community that I broke down and stole from and damaged, I was now able to go back there and rebuild. And because I had skills, I found ideas on how to build the community that I once destroyed. And that's where I started stepping into the communities and letting people know that this is my life, this is who I am, And the community was quite open to that, because I think once the community knows where you are coming from,
Yeah.
and they understand your heart, and they know that you are not here to destroy, but you're here to build, they're open to give you an opportunity, because we all make mistakes.
Yeah. And I think with that, I want to just find out from you in terms of what are some of the misconceptions that you have or sort of heard through, the corridors that exist around, individuals who are coming from prison or just gangsters at that. And what's the one thing you believe could be that bridge that really gives us, or rather allows people to connect with individuals who are once former gangsters, who are once former prisoners in that sense?
I think, Bright Spark Foundation SA, the foundation that I started it was started as a beacon of hope for young people,
Yeah.
that they should never make the decisions or the mistakes that I made, because I could survive prison doesn't mean they will survive prison. So for me, it was looking at when an offender leaves prison or anybody has made a mistake, it's a very important thing. I mean, even in the surah we read that Allah gives you an opportunity to go and ask for forgiveness. And once you are given forgiveness, you are given a second chance to make right what you've done wrong. He teaches us that it's not just about saying I'm sorry. It's about taking responsibility and taking accountability. It's like when you steal a sheep, you can't say I'm sorry for stealing your sheep. You go back and you say I'm going to give back 2 sheep. Simple.
Wow. And with that being said, please tell us more about Bright Spark Foundation in terms of what it does, how it continues to assist communities, and just everything that viewers at home should know about the foundation itself.
The foundation, we predominantly work with young boys and girls that are
Okay.
caught in gangs. We mediate, negotiate on their behalf to get them out of the gangs. And then we get them back into school, we get them back into university, we get them back into any institution of learning, so that they can just basically redevelop and regrow the life that they've lost. Because, on the streets, you don't actually live. You just basically live for someone else. So the foundation gives them a second chance. And we also do a whole lot of feeding families that do not have means to feed themselves, but with the intention of empowering them and providing them with employment and also skills to find and get employment. So the foundation is not just a foundation that teaches you about what is right and wrong, but it's also about empowering you to basically do things for yourself. As I say, you can teach, you can give a man fish every single day, and it's not going to empower him. But the minute you teach him how to fish, that's when he is able to go out on his own and catch the fish, and that's what we do.
This is quite an amazing conversation. I so wish we had so much time to just really probe at all the things that we need to understand when it comes to, reforming and just, coming back into a space where, because I think sometimes internally as a person who has wronged the community, you feel like, no, they can't forgive me. And you tend to misread certain interactions that you experience from people to say, no, they're still judging me, or they're still seeing me a certain way. And I think that mind shift that you sort of are oozing off from what the work you've been doing and the beautiful experiences that you've encountered is something that we'd love to get into. But with that being said, I want to find out from you, are there any changes or reforms that you feel are particularly crucial in improving the conditions for prisoners and helping inmates to successfully re-enter society?
I think for me, the most important thing, and these are the conversations we've had with the Ministry of Justice and even Correctional Services,
Yeah.
is that they need to make education mandatory. If offenders can be taught to read and write, if offenders can be taught to go to prison and get an opportunity to finish their matric, to learn. I mean, for me, it was an opportunity to say that the world is much bigger than what the streets tell us it is. Because when you're in the gangs tell you that this is your corner to control. That's your world. It's so small. You don't see beyond that street corner. But when you step into a classroom and you learn, you get to understand the importance of how big the world truly is. And with education, there's endless possibilities. I mean, Nelson Mandela says it so beautifully that education is a weapon to release us from poverty or even a life of crime.
And with that, how can viewers at home continue to sort of engage with Bright Spark Foundation in that sense? Because I mean, foundations don't, operate on, profit, income. It's all about donors. It's all about the collective, spirit of volunteers and community, just holding hands and ensuring that, the foundation continues to exist, continues to, as you said, negotiate on behalf of those individuals who feel like this life doesn't serve me anymore. What would be your message tonight for that?
I think for young people and especially parents out there, my message to them would be available and present. As a father, be available and present. As a mother, be available and present. And yes, Bright Spark Foundation SA does offer volunteers an opportunity to come and volunteer. We do work with many schools in the area where kids can get hours for volunteering with Bright Spark, and also get a feel of what it's like to step out there and support and grow other communities, because we might live behind barbed wires and high walls, but at the end of the day, when we step out of the house, we step into a world that's filled with people from different backgrounds, and it's important to know that one act of kindness can change the world.
And in closing, is there anything you'd like to share in terms of our conversation or your journey, if not your foundation?
I think for me, the most important thing is, like, we know that there's a lot going on in the world right now, but I just feel like for parents, my heart goes out to so many parents out there that sometimes feel like I'm doing this on my own. You're not on your own. There is support. You just need to know where to go to. So Bright Spark Foundation is offering parents an opportunity. We have beautiful, amazing parenting workshops. We have amazing engagements, especially with boys groups and girls groups, where we support boys into transitioning and the passage of becoming men. The same with girls, how they can become the woman that they want to become one day, which is, women of vision, destiny, and purpose.
Amazing. Mr. Welcome, Witbooi, thank you so much, for coming in tonight and really sharing with us your journey and the work that you are sort of implanting in communities that's going to serve so many generations. And I think with foundations like yourself, I think the thing of gangsterism could be something of the past. And we're really hopeful and praying that may the God Almighty continue blessing you in every effort that you and the foundation are embarking on. And thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Viewers at home, that was my conversation with the founder of Bright Spark Foundation SA. Now, he was sharing in all things his journey and how his reformation didn't come just for him reforming, but ensuring that nobody has to experience the harsh realities that he went through, and ensuring that there's a community that sees beyond what others are trying to manipulate you into seeing. On that note, make sure you do follow Bright Spark Foundation and just interact or just volunteer your time with them. And that was my beautiful conversation with Welcome Witbooi. But viewers at home, this is where we close it for now. Let's head over to an ad break. We'll see you just after this.